Now let's talk about how alcohol affects our consciousness and how to use it correctly. Does alcohol make you smarter or stupider? Most people would believe that alcohol makes people more stupid because we are used to seeing a drunk person making dangerous, irresponsible mistakes. Quite the contrary. Alcohol does not make people stupid or reduce their intelligence. We know from neuroscience that anxiety makes our brain slower. Alcohol actually reduces anxiety in the brain. You may recollect time in the past that alcohol gave you access to knowledge, memory, or skills that you don't normally use. Let me tell you a story. I'm a non-native English speaker, and amongst my high school friends, I had a friend who never spoke English. He was so embarrassed with his English. But whenever we went out and he drank, we got him speaking English. And he spoke surprisingly well when tourists would come, or just with himself. Sometimes he wondered, why is it that when he is sober, his English skills suddenly disappear? It has to do with the impact of alcohol on our brains. All non-native English speakers have an anxiety when speaking a foreign language. But with alcohol, anxiety and embarrassment reduced. And again, anxiety slows down the brain. The brain suddenly thinks faster. Funny, huh? So alcohol does not make you stupid. The thing that makes the drunk irresponsible is not low IQ, but ignoring potential risks. The problem is that alcohol makes us ignore the negative consequences of our mistakes and actions. We don't think about our future or potentially hurting other people. Therefore, alcohol influence is very dangerous when making decisions that can harm us or other people. For example, during driving or operating heavy machinery. You just need one mistake to kill yourself or other people with you. For the same reason, don't hold a knife and drink alcohol. It's a bad idea. Another bad idea, which you should know, is mixing alcohol with pharmaceutical drugs. One reason is enhances the effect of those drugs, so you get effectively higher effect per dose of most drugs. Alcohol may intensify medication side effects as well, and it can adversely interact with hundreds of commonly used medications. If you take drugs, always consult your doctor about alcohol. Speaking of bad ideas, I'm not mentioning all the common obvious recommendations against using alcohol when driving, operating heavy machinery, etc. That should be obvious, and this episode does not deal with those. Let's continue with the influence of the drug called alcohol. But before I continue, I must stress one thing. When dealing with drugs, and alcohol is a drug because it affects our consciousness and can lead to addiction, it's all about the user. It's not about the drug, but how you use the drug. So it's up to us to take full responsibility on how we use this drug. If you remember at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that there is one major difference between alcohol to all other types of drugs. Alcohol is the only drug we know that makes people aggressive. Other drugs, they do not make people aggressive. And some people, under the influence of alcohol, have the tendency to be extremely aggressive and violent. Alcohol changes their brain chemistry and makes them violent, and they become extremely physically powerful under the influence of alcohol. This strength, together with the violence, make them a real threat to people around them. Those people can be the raging alcoholics. In my opinion, these people should never drink alcohol. It's just not worth the risk. Let's continue to discover how alcohol affects our brain. Besides reducing anxiety and caring less for negative consequences of the future, alcohol affects our brain in two ways. Alcohol reduces physical stress and creates numbness in the nervous system. Because of those two influences, many people use alcohol to reduce stress in order to calm their minds, and also to avoid pain. Are these two good uses? Let's begin with stress. I refer to stress in this context as worrying all the time and not being able to rest our minds. We all know that stress is bad for us, so probably drinking to reduce stress makes sense, right? Wrong. In my opinion, the second worst way to use alcohol is as a tool to reduce stress. The problem with stress is we usually experience stress when we suppress negative emotions such as fear or any other feeling we don't want to feel. If, for example, you're afraid of being poor, getting fired from your job, not being able to pay your mortgage, or that your spouse is going to leave you, but you don't want to feel that or handle that, you suppress that fear. And we know that suppressed fear makes us worry all the time and feel so-called stressed. Then you go and drink alcohol. Sure, it will temporarily make you not worry, but as soon as the influence disappears, you're back dealing with those fears again. They will not go away. And when you come off of the influence, you're going to feel that stress, worry, and jittery mind all over again, and your brain would want to go back. The same with sadness, anger, disappointment, sorrow, depression. And the problem with those negative emotions is that you need to be conscious to understand why you're even stressed. You need to connect yourself on a higher level, and alcohol takes that connection away. So alcohol is going to exacerbate any stress you're going to experience. It's a bad recipe. This is how you get addicted and get depressed. In comparison, many people testify that psychedelics have an opposite effect. Psychedelics, a drug which I never tried, confront you with the pain and the cause for the stress that you experience and don't want to deal with. Let's go now to the second influence of alcohol, which is numbness. Another very common way people use alcohol is drinking to reduce pain. It could be physical pain, such as an injury or disease, but especially emotional pain, which really feels like physical pain. Drinking to reduce pain is a terrible, terrible idea. The worst use of alcohol. You know that person, the sad, painful drunk. Here is why it's such a bad idea. If you're in pain, if you're hurt, or maybe you have physical pain, alcohol, yes, will cause numbness. It will temporarily reduce the pain. But that numbness doesn't solve the problem. And when the influence comes off, you feel that pain again. That's a hook for emotional addiction, because you just gave your brain an easy way out. It's not the alcohol, it's your brain seeking to avoid pain. It's your brain that's going to create that addiction, and you must drink again. If you continue to drink, now you're going to develop physical addiction on top of that emotional addiction. Because we know that after a certain regular high consumption of alcohol, alcohol begins to regulate your blood sugar. And it creates a physical addiction that is very similar to sugar addiction. You can imagine how it feels. Do you know when you need to eat something sweet and you feel like, if you don't feed me right now, I'm going to kill you? That's how it feels. And if you don't drink alcohol, you become angry, anxious, and tired until you drink again. It's a recipe for disaster. The bottom line, it's a bad idea to drink alcohol to reduce stress, and even worse, to deal with pain, whether emotional or physical pain, even though alcohol actually reduces stress and increases numbness, which reduce pain. But there is the correct use of alcohol. But before that, let me ask you a question. Is it a ridiculous idea that changing your healthy lifestyle can change your life? If so, how you do that? You do that by acquiring in-depth information about your body and health regularly, and adding simple steps, one by one, for a healthy lifestyle. If you found me, you're in luck, because this podcast, together with the email notification system from me, is a free program to help you achieve a healthy lifestyle. And it includes both in-depth education and the simple steps for a healthy lifestyle. The problem is, not one episode can give you everything you need. Listen, we all forget, we all get distracted. Therefore, we all need help to get reminded about progressing a healthy body path and which specific steps we need to follow next. Luckily, you already have a system to get reminded that is for free. How? By subscribing via a platform that is convenient for you. This way, it will show you the next episode on your dashboard, so you could progress step by step over a long period of time without forgetting and without getting distracted. Because within a year of in-depth education and simple steps, you might realize you feel so much better, with more energy, more vitality, better health, less weight, and a happy and healthy lifestyle with the perfect habits. Honestly, is there a good reason for you not to subscribe in one of those platforms? Would you object to subscribe now?